Neuf à la banque.
I need another 1,000.
I admire your courage, Miss...
Trench. Sylvia Trench. I admire your luck, Mr.
Bond. James Bond.
James Bond is a fictional character in the popular series of spy novels and films. Secret agent James Bond is an elite member of MI6, the British Secret Service, codenamed 007. His 00 status indicates that he's licensed to kill as part of his job. His boss M, a crusty old admiral, has a begrudging respect for 007 and sends him on his missions. M's secretary is Miss Moneypenny, with whom Bond has an ongoing flirtation but unconsummated relationship. The officious quartermaster, codenamed Q, is in charge of Bond's weaponry and gadgets and always gets upset when his inventions do not return undamaged. James Bond movies are characterized by outrageous action sequences, exotic locales, beautiful women, fantastic technology, villainous characters, and evil plots often involving world domination or destruction. James Bond was created by Ian Fleming in his first novel, Casino Royale, in 1953. Ian Fleming was a journalist from a well-to-do British family who wanted to write spy novels after serving with naval intelligence during World War II. Fleming created the character of James Bond, a womanizing secret agent who smoked and drank too much and went on globe-trotting adventures to save the world. The name James Bond came from a book that was on Fleming's nightstand, Birds of the West Indies by ornithologist James Bond. The first novel introduced the character who embarks on his first 00 mission. Other novels soon followed, but Fleming was beset by financial troubles, which led him to adapt James Bond for the screen. A series of deals with producers in the mid-50s led to initial attempts to bring Bond to television. James Bond first appeared on screen in a live CBS television adaptation of Casino Royale in 1957. Soon thereafter, Fleming joined forces with producer Kevin McClory and writer Jack Whittingham to write an unproduced screenplay titled Longitude 78 West. When the film failed to get off the ground, Fleming turned it into his 9th novel, Thunderball. Eventually, American producer Cubby Broccoli and Canadian producer Harry Saltzman, who had both approached Fleming separately to acquire the film rights to the Bond novels, joined forces to produce a film series, starting with Dr.No in 1962.
James Bond, 007. Licensed to kill whom he pleases, where he pleases, when he pleases.
They cast unknown Scottish actor Sean Connery in the role of James Bond and shot the film in Jamaica with a low budget of $1 million. The film was successful enough to continue the series with a sequel in 1963, From Russia with Love.
Only the second James Bond thriller could be more exciting than the first.
The series continued with Goldfinger in 1964. This film, with its golden girls, flamboyant villain, and menacing henchman, was a smash box office hit that created the mold for future Bond adventures and sparked the spy craze of the 1960s. It inspired movies and television series, such as Mission Impossible, I Spy, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., and the Matt Helm film series. Ian Fleming had continued to write his novels despite his ill health throughout the early 60s, but was sued by the original Longitude 78 West producer, Kevin McClory, for using elements of their unproduced screenplay in the Thunderball novel, which led to McClory acquiring the rights to Thunderball. Fearing competition, Broccoli and Saltzman struck a deal with McClory for the production of the 4th James Bond movie, Thunderball, in 1965.
My dear Prime Minister, 2 atomic bombs are now in the possession of Spectre. Unless your government pays to us £100 million, we shall destroy a major city in England or the United States of America.
Meanwhile, Columbia Pictures, who had acquired the rights to Casino Royale, went ahead with their film adaptation to cash in on the ongoing spy craze of the 1960s. Casino Royale was produced with an all-star cast including David Niven, Peter Sellers, Ursula Andress, Woody Allen as cousin Jimmy Bond,
My doctor says I can't have bullets enter my body at any time.
And Orson Welles as the villain Le Chiffre. The bloated production was a comedic parody of James Bond with no less than 5 directors and was released in 1967, the same year as the 5th Bond movie, You Only Live Twice. Already by this point, the film producers were taking liberties with their adaptations of the novels to satisfy the growing expectations of the movie-going public. You Only Live Twice featured a fantastical plot by Bond's arch-nemesis Blofeld and his evil organization Spectre, which captured American and Soviet spacecrafts to provoke World War III. It featured an attack on Blofeld's hollowed-out volcano lair by a team of ninjas armed with rocket guns. James Bond goes full out, learning martial arts and ninja star throwing in order to defeat his foe. During the production of this extravagant film, Sean Connery announced his retirement from the role, having grown frustrated of the long schedules, constant invasion of his privacy, and typecasting with the role. A worldwide search began straight away for the new Bond, which yielded Australian model George Lazenby.
This never happened to the other fella.
The producers chose to return to a straight adaptation of the novel On Her Majesty's Secret Service to create a low-tech storyline where Blofeld, now played by Telly Savalas, holds the world for ransom. The film is notable for being the only movie where Bond gets married. Although the film was a success, Lazenby did not continue as Bond, and the producers persuaded Sean Connery to return to the role one last time in Diamonds Are Forever.
Who are you?
My name is Bond. James Bond.
Following Diamonds Are Forever, a new era in Bond movies began when Roger Moore accepted the role in the blaxploitation-inspired Live and Let Die. The series experienced its first failure in The Man with the Golden Gun and saw the departure of producer Harry Saltzman. Now leading the film series solo, Cubby Broccoli planned an adaptation of The Spy Who Loved Me.
My latest, and if I'm not careful, my last assignment will take me to new heights of adventure.
In The Spy Who Loved Me, Bond joins forces with Soviet agent XXX to confront Stromberg, a megalomaniac who captures British and Soviet submarines in order to incite World War III, which would allow him to create an idealistic underwater society. The film was a huge success and cemented Roger Moore in the role for another 4 movies. Bond went to space in Moonraker, riding on the success of Star Wars, and then came back to Earth with For Your Eyes Only, a classic spy thriller. The remainder of the 80s Bond movies retained a more down-to-earth, ripped-from-the-headlines tone. Producer Kevin McClory retained the rights to Thunderball. He lured Sean Connery back into the role of 007 and produced a remake of Thunderball, Never Say Never Again, in 1983. Which went head-to-head with Octopussy, Roger Moore's second-last Bond outing. With A View to a Kill, Roger Moore said goodbye to the role of 007, and the search was on to find the next James Bond. After an exhaustive search, Broccoli cast Timothy Dalton for the next Bond adventure, The Living Daylights. Adopting a much more serious and dark take on the character, Timothy Dalton went on to star in 2 Bond adventures, The Living Daylights and License to Kill, before legal troubles stalled the series for 6 years. In that time, Pierce Brosnan was hired as the 5th James Bond in GoldenEye, named after Fleming's Jamaican residence where he wrote his books. The following Pierce Brosnan movies were produced by Cubby Broccoli's daughter, Barbara Broccoli, and stepson, Michael Wilson, who replaced him after his death in 1996. The Brosnan films, Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough, and Die Another Day, had a more fantastical and silly tone that was more an imitation of other action films than trailblazers in the genre it helped create. After the 40th anniversary in 2002, Brosnan was unceremoniously let go in favor of a younger Bond that would star in a reboot. They decided to take Bond back to his roots, the book that started it all, Casino Royale. As a faithful adaptation, it tells the story of Bond's first mission and the heartbreak that ensued. This shifted the style and tone of the Bond films significantly. A few exceptions aside, 007 had always been portrayed as the professional and steadfast servant of the crown. Now, the films dealt with his feelings, motivations, and painful past, with each film more personal than the last. Casino Royale was followed by a direct sequel, Quantum of Solace, a title also taken from Fleming. Skyfall was released for the 50th anniversary of the film series in 2012 and was the highest grossing Bond movie of all time. It was followed by Spectre in 2015, which brought back Bond's arch-nemesis Ernst Stavro Blofeld, played by Oscar winner Christoph Waltz. The upcoming James Bond film, No Time to Die, features the return of Daniel Craig, who has announced that this is his last outing as Bond. The film will feature M, Q, Miss Moneypenny, and Blofeld, with a new Bond supervillain played by Oscar winner Rami Malek. James Bond has been a cornerstone of Western pop culture for over 60 years. The character, a reflection of the evolving sensibilities of society during that time. His staying power can be attributed to the original inspiration for the character, the legend of St. George and the Dragon. Always the hero, always dependable, Bond risks it all and lives life to the fullest, saving the world from ultimate evil. As always, James Bond will return.